to MMA Fancast. My name's Luke Payson, and I am honored to have back on the show with us today, just under 2 weeks from his return to 247 Fighting Championships at Brawl in the Burgh 17, July 15th from the Monroeville Convention Center. GOAT James Padmore, welcome back, GOAT James. How you doing?
Oh, great. Feeling great.
It's been fun having you on the show 2 times before, and probably what's even more fun than having you on the show is how you fight. You are 2-0 as an amateur with 2 knockouts, 1 in the first round, 1 in the third round. So let's just park there before we get onto the fight that's upcoming in just under 2 weeks. For you, compare those 2 fights. Does it mean more when you get a knockout in round 3 and you've kind of had to go almost the entire fight, or was it kind of more fun to get round run? Just compare those 2 knockouts, 1 in the first round, 1 in the third
round. Well, the first fight, I got the first round knockout. I proved to myself that I can do this, the whole MMA thing. And then the second fight, I got the knockout in the third round, and I proved that I have somewhat of a gas tank, along with all the other things I did in that second fight, the wrestling, the takedowns, the ground control, and then ultimately the knockout in the third round. So, it's all great. But when it comes down to it, as long as I win, that's all that matters. As long as I win,
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense. I appreciate you comparing the both. They're both great wins for different reasons. One being you got in there and got it great. You couldn't have planned it better to get a first round knockout. And then also in the second fight to have a little bit more well-rounded experience. Now, what's really exciting is light heavyweight is always an exciting, entertaining weight category. You think of it at kind of the biggest levels, the names at light heavyweight. And you are taking on Adam Caldwell, who's also 2-0, also with 2 knockouts. You're 31, he's 35. It's really a story of amateur fighters that maybe are getting late to the game, but are really showing that that really doesn't matter. You guys are
that's old timers.
Yes, exactly. You both put on incredible shows. Both of you have only fought for 247, so it's really kind of 247 or anybody that gets the subscription to 247 Live, where they can look at the entire bank of shows and videos and fighters. People can go back and literally watch your 2 fights with 247 and his 2 fights with 247 and get excited and ready for this fight. Why did you say yes to Adam Caldwell, and how much did you put into the fact that you guys are both highly ranked 2-0 amateur light heavyweights with both 2 knockouts, and are both kind of doing this at an age where you got to get it done if you're getting it done now?
Well, let's take away the whole age thing. Sure. That didn't even register with me. I was just like, he's 6'1" with 2 knockouts.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued. I'm excited, right? So I go back and I watch his fights, and he's making guys quit. Like he's got real power. He's putting on guys, and they're just, all right, I'm done. By their mannerisms, But yeah, like I said, this is very exciting. I think this is my first real test, and hopefully with this, I might start getting some respect. I mean, last year I was nominated for Amateur of the Year, Newcomer of the Year, but I'm gonna finally start getting some respect after this win, and hopefully maybe a title shot.
Well, there's a lot there. I'm excited that you have that mindset. I think that's something that we end up talking a lot about on MMA Fancast here, is part of the amateur mindset. A good amateur like you is to want to take on guys that are looking impressive, right? You can always look around and find some guy that's, maybe has a lot more developmental work to do, and there's no shame there. But a lot of times a guy who's 2-0, who's trying to fight a guy who's 0-3, and yes, I've literally seen those guys try to take those fights. There's not much to be gained from there. And I think your mindset that you've gone back and watched his fights, and you're excited. And I think that's why this fight sells itself. Both you guys are big, strong guys that knock out opponents. And kind of that classic, one of your O will stand, one of your O will go. You're both 6'1", as far as topology goes. You guys are both kind of the perfect size for 205. You mentioned that you want to kind of show yourself. How do you think you're going to perform at Brawl BITB17? I guess there's a bit of a prediction or a bit of an expectation at Monroeville Convention Center, which is, by the way, for people who may not know, who may just be tuning in to watch you, Goat James. It's a back-to-back night. I think that's exciting. We'll talk about it here once I get your prediction. But 247 is doing a cage sort of super fight BJJ the night before. Then you guys at MMA the next day, both at Monroeville Convention Center. But let's get kind of a prediction or an expectation that you have for yourself and for this fight.
Like I said, the goal is to win, but I'm thinking heavy grappling. He is a very good striker. I mean, there's a few holes in his game, but he's a very good striker. With the holes in his game, he makes up with it in power and athleticism because he is athletic. I will give him that and all. I'm sorry. What was the question? I was zoned out.
Well, that's great right there. Those are obviously great answers. What your expectation, I guess, is what you're saying, is that you're going to find his holes and make it a grappling match, I think is what you're saying.
Yep, submission. I'm going for the submission.
Going for the submission.
Yeah.
All right. And let's circle back around. And obviously, I don't want you to feel passed over for the 247 yearly award show. It was the first time ever doing it. I think it got a lot of people excited, but obviously you can feel that. You can feel that chip. You can do the Tom Brady chip on your shoulder. You didn't, of course, that's good.
Yeah.
But for this year, for 2023, you fought both of your fights in 2022. This is going to be your first fight for 2023. What case do you think you're going to make for yourself this year? In other words, there's amateur fighter of the year. You wouldn't be the newcomer anymore because that was like more of a last year thing, but you could still be in the running for best amateur fighter. You can still be in the running for best fight or best knockout. So if you were to kind of script your 2023, what of those three awards, and if I'm right, those would be the three awards you'd be looking for: knockout of the year, fight of the year, or best amateur fight of the year. Which one do you think you'd really be kind of most wanting to earn and win, at the end of this year? Because I think people are going to get more and more excited for those awards as it builds year upon year.
To keep it simple, all of them. I want all of them. I'm about winning. Like I want all of them. Any award I can achieve, I want it.
Okay.
I'm not the amateur that's too cool. Oh, this is just amateurs. It doesn't matter. No, give me the belt. All the awards. I want all of it.
I love it. I think that's a great mindset and attitude. I'll look forward. Fast forward 6 months from now, end of 2023. I can't wait to see kind of everybody that gets represented at the 247 award show. I think that really, like you mentioned it, a lot of times people sort of overlook, and they should not, regional fighters, regional promotions, and amateurs. But the reality is that's where all the big names come from. Every big name anyone's ever seen has started as a regional, amateur, unknown guy. So it is really exciting. And I think just that award show showed how many people are interested in excellent MMA in a local environment. So all positive things, all incredible things there. For me, looking at this fight, you mentioned a title fight. And there's 3 amateur title fights on the card. So it's a big amateur title fight. And I know because you're a student of the game, that one of those amateur title fights is at your weight class, 205. Nick Nash, impressive 5-0 record versus the local guy, Jeff Magan, who's 3-1. It'll be an advanced amateur. Let's just say it, since we've been talking. You get a win. How likely are you to call out the winner of that fight? I'm in there interviewing you after your fight. You know how it goes. Hey, what do you want next? That's a title fight later in the card. Is that going to be something you're immediately wanting for whoever wins, Nick Nash or Jeff Magan? Is that kind of the level you want, since you were saying you want a title fight?
I'm not looking to fight any of my teammates.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who's your teammate? I'm so sorry. Is Jeff your teammate?
Yeah. He's like one of my main training partners.
I'm so sorry. I should have put that together. I was not trying to set you up to call out. We do not need a John Jones versus Rashad Evans. I'm so sorry. We're not going
Yeah.
for that. Okay, well, we'll rewind that question. I'll change it to this. Because Jeff Magan is your teammate, what do you expect from that fight? So sorry, it's a title fight. It's a 205. It's in your weight class. You got to be excited about it. What do you expect out of your teammate, Jeff Magan?
Well, let me start by saying this. From what I hear, if Jeff wins, he's going pro, so the belt might still be up. If I hear this Nash guy, if he wins, he's going pro, so the belt might still be there.
There you go.
You know, listen, Jeff, I'm a big fan of Jeff, man. I tell him each and every day, listen, man, you're the future, man. You're the chosen one. But you know, I say it so much now, he don't even listen to me. He's like, all right, shut up, James. Get out of here, man. But yeah, it's gonna be a rough day for what's his first name?
His first name's Nick. He's got a great name, Nick Nash. But his
Nick
first
Nash.
name's Nick.
Nasty Nash. That's it. That's it, right?
Yeah, Nasty. Yeah. Nick
Nash.
Yeah.
I watched a couple of his videos. He has very good striking, good submission artist and all that. But it's gonna be a long night for him. Jeff is he's a different animal, and he's a problem for any 205er out there.
Yeah, I got to see him fight a couple of different times. Obviously, his debut was with 247, but I got down to the New Line cage fighting back in May, and he was fighting a guy with more experience, better record, and just put him away in the first round with ground strikes, with ground and pound. Just very, very impressive of a fighter. And yeah, you're right. The future's bright for both of them. I love the fact that you can root for your friend and training partner out of Stout. You can root for Jeff Magan to win and then still potentially be in line for the title fight once he's pro. It would be opened up for a title fight. And generally speaking, I always like to ask this question. This fight will be the last time in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that you are restricted to the novice amateur rule set. Next up, no matter what, is advanced amateur. Now, you obviously know what advanced amateur is. I'm sure you've been training it. You've got to stay focused on this fight ahead. But how much are you looking forward to, and what are you looking forward to in the longer rounds and the bigger rule set next time out, particularly if it is for a belt?
I'm really looking forward to it because my first two fights I had my opponents in a dominant position, grappling wise, and I could have landed some heavy strikes, but the rule set. I think the next rule the next rule set is gonna play greatly to my type of style. My type of style is control, like a Khabib kind of like control.
Sure.
Hold them there, make them tired, and then capitalize with the strikes. I'm not really too big on submissions. I mean, I can force them, but they're not as smooth as like a Charles Oliveira or someone.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Although you did say earlier, if I remember, you did say that you'd love to get a submission on the ground versus Adam Caldwell, once you get in that position. So yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I love the amount of respect you guys have for each other because you're both going to make each other better no matter what happens. That's part of the training process, and part of the fighting process is you want good opponents to bring the best out in each other. There's so many incredible fights on this 247 Brawl in the Burgh card. Like I said, there are three. I've already mentioned there are three amateur title fights, but there are a total of 5 advanced amateur. We just talked about the advanced amateur rule set. Next time around, that'll be up for you. But I can't remember the last time a regional promotion, including 247, was able to put on 5 advanced amateurs. That's most of those guys are ready to go pro, like you mentioned with your teammate Jeff. And there's so many. There's so many talent, and there's even guys that are fighting advanced amateur that aren't for belts. So I just think that next level, just a little bit above you, your next fight out, really does show. And for people that badmouth the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I think it makes perfect sense. I know the rule set seems limited, but it allows people to develop better than if you go down to Virginia and in your first fight, it's pro rules and there's knees to the face and elbows. And I know people think that's fun, but it's not fun for somebody who's trying to learn and might get a little too overwhelmed. So I think it is the perfect developmental rule set. And by the time people are in advanced amateurs with no shin guards and ground and pound and longer fights, that's where you really see the next level and ready for pro. So can't wait to see that. But let's back up one night. You're obviously going to be dialed in, but the way this is going to work is the Brawl in the Burgh 17 guys, yourself included, are going to weigh in prior to the Sprawl in the Burgh due to the timing. And obviously that'll be laid out by Jim Mooney and Hunter and Ryan. I don't know all that, but you all have already weighed in. So once you make weight and face off and square off and do all that, are you staying to watch Sprawl in the Burgh, and who do you have your eyes on as far as if you are going to watch or stream Sprawl in the Burgh 1, because there's a lot of incredible matchups there on the BJJ side?
I don't really want to say this, but I'm gonna have to. I'm probably not staying.
Okay.
I gotta fight the next day. You know,
That's
I gotta worry
fine.
about.
There's no shame in that.
You know,
This is just you saying how it is. That's okay.
Yeah. But I will say there's some talented people on that card that I like Tanner Hall,
Oh yeah.
Katatrina, Dempsey. I love Dempsey. I was wrong with him another day. Yeah, Dempsey, Isaac. You know, great guy. I think Pippins is on there.
Yeah. Pippins is doing a rematch versus an MMA opponent in Big Man Dan Albright. And that was a fight that went back and forth. It was a crazy fight. And yeah, that's a rematch for them going from MMA to jiu-jitsu. And they both really want that, you know, as far as going back and forth. So, well, I think that makes perfect sense. And I've plugged it before, but the 247 Live app allows people like you might be the type of guy that once you weigh in, you got to go and get home and recuperate and focus on your fight. And then once you fight, you know, that might be a great thing to catch up on Sunday, you know, watching Sprawl in the Burgh. And that's another thing, the 247 app and just the way Ryan Middleton, the owner of 247, is really helping this. That catalog is going to be there forever. And I think that's what's really gonna help people get more and more excited about 247 fighting championships. You can watch somebody's career to, you know, and kind of follow their development. And there's a lot of fighters who don't really participate in MMA. You mentioned Tanner Hall. He's not a guy that's going to do MMA, but he's impressive in BJJ. Then there's guys like you mentioned, Jay Pippins, who does MMA, and so transitioning to BJJ, it's kind of like a new wrinkle in their game. That might even be something you eventually do, given working on your rule set, and your skill set. But it's always great having you on the show. That is a fight. Every fight is a fight to watch. I'm going to get tired of saying that on the live commentary, but 2-0 with 2 knockouts, both opponents. Usually that is like a highlight fight. There's just so many deep fights on that card that I hope everybody watches from the first fight to the last fight. Because of course, Justin, I know you know Justin the General Patton, main event, going to be an incredible pro fight. And there's just so many layers to that night. So I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. Real quick, for anybody that wants to buy the pay-per-view or tickets, I've been posting in my Instagram and Facebook story. Just click on that. I'll have the pay-per-views and the place to buy the tickets, and just put my name in there, James Padmore, and help me out a little bit. Thanks for the support.
Yeah, that's always great. As far as support goes, you're absolutely right. It's always best to buy tickets either in person or, like James, like you just said, you just don't want to skip over that checkout part. If you're buying a ticket from 247fighting.com to be there in person, make sure you click James's name. Sometimes it's easy to skip that, and that really does help you and help any fighter that you select, as well as also on the 247 live or the pay-per-view, you can still select James's name. So I'm glad you're pushing it. I'm glad you're out there letting people know that it supports you, and that does make a big difference. So I appreciate you putting that out there. That is a huge thing. Same thing for Sprawl in the Burgh, even though we just talked about it. There's almost 30 matches in Sprawl in the Burgh. That's about 60 competitors. Every single one of them, if you know them, if you're watching or going in person to support a certain team or support a certain person, make sure you give them credit, because it'll always go a long way. And I tell people, if for some reason you know nobody, still pick a fighter's name. It's going to help them. They'll love it. So always pick a fighter's name. But James, you make a great case, and it does really go a long way to helping you in training. And it also helps, and we've talked about this before, it helps Ryan and Hunter and Jim Mooney, the head matchmaker, kind of know who people are excited about, right? We all know Conor McGregor and kind of what happened when he came over from Ireland years ago. But if he didn't have a lot of people excited, his skill was still there, but the excitement level goes up with more eyes that got on it. Which, speaking of which, last fight, 247 was put on 22 the point. And I think that takes it to the next level. People in the community being able to watch it at the bar, being able to watch it in their homes, on a TV station. I believe they're going to continue that. So I think that's just going to increase the level of eyes and the number of people that are excited about it. Always an honor having you on, Coach James Padmore. You've been on the show with Luke Basin for MMA Fancast. Can't wait. Just under 2 weeks away, Brawl the BITB17, Monroeville Convention Center. Thanks so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You got it. Have a good one and a happy early Independence Day to you. Take care.
Have a good one.
You got it.